Ronald Koeman never expected to have success at Go-Ahead Eagles. It was initially about avoiding relegation and seeing what comes next. Now that he's had a down season after a few successful years, the objective is to beat Feyenoord. Just not in the Super Cup, thanks to a lone goal.
Am I just doomed to failure for the rest of my life?
To improve his chances, several players left on a free, plus Bruckner left for $5 million. That, along with the $35 million sale of Mohamed Kamara to Rennes, increased the transfer budget to $42 million. With Strikespire being sent packing to Salzburg for nearly 10, a lot of money was in play. However, anyone really good either weren't interested or joined another team. Damn you, Everton.
Okay, yeah, it just ruined my night, but okay.
The big money move was a center back named Kweku Mumuni for $27 million from Feyenoord. João Felix also arrived in okay, I can't make that joke again. It was his brother who arrived for $1.6 million. For the same price, Denzel Dumfries arrived from Inter, although he lost his pace as the season went on. On the other flank, another oldie came in, Rico Henry from Burnley. The final transfer was Nicolas Bilokapic of Australia. Signed for $6 million, he was going to be the starting keeper until he got injured before the first game. That led to a loss versus Vitesse on opening day, with Jolson dropping a stinker and Dumfries getting sent off late. At least Rico Henry scored. Another problem was that Kiermgaard started to gather interest from the Premier League. With a $40 million release clause, Koeman was nervous. Thankfully, he hired a hitman to break his ribs on deadline day, although now he's out for 2 months, and he would get injured soon after. He did sign a new deal though. Because of all that, Kevin Rodriguez came in on loan from Liverpool. This video is brought to you by my Patreon. If you want to continue the Go-Ahead story or any other say from this FM, they're all available. Thankfully, that first loss was just a blip on the road, as 4 wins came in a row and all being clean sheets. With the 3-back returning, the lineup generally had Adamati as a wide center back, Ayache returning from a loan playing as the cover, and Germay on the left side. Marcos at this point got starts at right wing back, while Joe Bellingham was cooking as the deep line playmaker. Normally, the cams would be Havlik as the shadow striker, and David Palmer playing as the attacking midfielder on support, with Bungard up front. Depending on fitness, Bungard could drop into the shadow striker or the bench and have Wendell up front. The latter occurred versus Ajax, where not much occurred. They, along with Feyenoord, were favorites for the league, but for some reason, Ajax were the ones always underperforming. Still, this was a game Koeman wanted to win and really pushed for it. In the 95th minute, Vink missed a chance for Ajax. Yet, the game continued to play on, with Go-Ahead progressing forward. Dumfries found up Timov, and he would find an inch-perfect pass to Hugo Felix's noggin. A 96-minute winner continued the run. That was until the Europa League. With the Dutch Cup being won and finishing outside the top 2, it was Europa League football, and no qualifiers had to be played. With Lech Poznan already defeated, Aston Villa was up on October 3rd. Another encounter with the claret and blue, and with Chalba scoring in his own net just 12 minutes in, Koeman was feeling excited. Then Xavi Simons scored a garbage goal to equalize. To add to the stupidity, Adamati got himself sent off prior to halftime. Even worse, Villa got a penalty literally minutes after the break, but got stopped by Bilokapic. Unfortunately, he couldn't stop a banker from former Feyenoord player Burson Faras. He'd get one more, and his teammate Diallo would make it 4. So Yandel Thompson continues to provide nightmares. Losing a single match seemed to have stunlocked the team, as they couldn't break down Twente's bus, barely got by Fortuna Sittard, and Olympiacos. Then, a win seemed guaranteed versus Volendam, but a mistake led to Velleman equalizing the match on their only shot on target. The month ended in a hard-fought battle with Feyenoord, and with them not helping themselves in the first half, they would make up for it later, ending the match all squared. Both sides were tied in the table, behind PSV, who were doing surprisingly well. I guess Zhangji's Utrecht were good too. Just please stop spying. No. With the Hugo Felix brace versus Cambuur bringing back the winning feeling, Wolfsburg decided to halt that. So up came PSV at home, and many were anticipating a hard-fought battle.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take you on the sights and sounds of, where are we?
Wendell and Bungard completely wrecked them, but it would have been nice if one was saved for Heerenveen. More unnecessary drop points. But December was a whole lot better in the Eredivisie. 4 wins, in which David Palmer scored in every single match. Yeah, the team may have lost to Benfica in the Europa League, but with 17 Eredivisie fixtures played, the side were tied with Feyenoord, only behind by a single goal. To determine the better team, the two would play each other in January, after Go-Ahead won on matchday 18, while Feyenoord lost to Heracles Almelo. By this point, Kiermgaard was back, Mamuni took over Grimai as a starter, but Adamati was injured. Feyenoord were missing Thiago Thomas, and his replacement was Was, who nearly opened the scoring in the 43rd. The game was relatively quiet, but there was one more problem. Ilkapic was on international duty thanks to the Asian Cup. He was gone for January, which included this fixture. With a ball sent behind, Yulson?
What the heck are you doing?
Not too long later,
How did that go in? No!
through his legs from that angle. So Feyenoord took the lead in the table as the response was pitiful. It got even worse, as the previously mentioned David Palmer was gathering interest from Europe's top clubs. With a 58 million release clause and refusing to sign a new deal, it was Everton who spent the money and he joined them mid-season. This was a bitter pill to swallow, but the confusing thing is that they could spend that as well as 65 million up front for Feyenoord's Thiago Thomas. All that while spending over 100 million in the summer and another 32 million on a guy named Tin Murkay, while having 200 million in debt. Signings had to be made, but it was difficult to find the right players who aren't already making insane mountain wages. The transfers that were made were Mihai Marius Andreas of Farul for 5 million, close to Palmer's level, but slower and has pretty bad concentration. Then, a Polish attacking midfielder named Tobias Skopek arrived from Zagłębie Lubin for a cheap fee. On deadline day, Martin Zubamendi arrived from Real Madrid for roughly 13 million, and Adrien Ledesma from the other Madrid side came in as well. Why is he ineligible? He's played for 2 clubs? Are you kidding?
What the crap? Whoa, what the...
Apparently, it does warn you about this on the second line of the confirmation page. Up to the reserves you go, while the form in February fell off a cliff. The team missed out on the top 8 of the Europa League despite winning the final 2 games, but were able to destroy FCSB in the playoff round. The side also got victories over Heerenveen and Valbeek, but didn't versus Vitesse and AZ. Finally, the Dutch Cup undefeated run came to a risk of ending. Versus Groningen, the match went to penalties after blowing 2 separate leads. In the shootout, Felix and Job missed. With it at 3-3, Groningen had to score to advance. But they didn't. Sudden death arrived, with Henry missing.
Bro, are you kidding me? Our hopes was back and now they're gone. Romeo. Oh my gosh, it stopped.
Thomas Araujo then.
No, what the crap is going on?
Groningen wouldn't miss 3 in a row as Go Ahead were knocked out of the Dutch Cup for the first time in 4 years. Could it get any worse?
Skill issue.
That form had them behind Feyenoord by 6 and PSV by 4. Feyenoord were able to smoke Ajax on the following fixture, while Go Ahead did the same to Volendam. However, on matchday 27, Feyenoord would slip, losing to AZ thanks to a Brian Dominguez winner. In a home match versus NAC Breda, Go Ahead were able to inch closer to them with a Wendell brace. Meanwhile, PSV drawing Vitesse meant they were sent to 3rd. Following that, Feyenoord and Go Ahead won their next 2 fixtures. The Eagles switched to a front 2, seeing both strikers score. On matchday 29, Feyenoord slipped again, drawing Volendam 1-0. The Eagles handled Cambuur with no problem, with another Boongard pen and Wendell getting on the score sheet too. Now, a 1-point difference with 5 to go. So the 30th fixture of the season was upon us, and the opponent would be PSV. Big chance came from Boongard, but he was denied. Fast forwarding to the second half, Enrico Henry was barged down in the box. Boongard recently missed a pen in a Europa League fixture that I'll mention soon, so Andreas was given the opportunity to go ahead. It seemed like the perfect chance was wasted, but the team kept pushing and changed to a 4-1-2-1-2. That saw PSV hitting the post. But in the 90th minute, finds Boongard. He keeps it down brilliantly. What a trap. Henry, Boongard. Havlik! Yes! Yes! A huge last minute winner from Havlik, which put Go Ahead into first temporarily. With Feyenoord playing Pek Zwolle. Yes! Let's go! If every game is won, Go Ahead are champions. So let's talk about Pek Zwolle. Probably the second greatest club in the Netherlands, Pek Zwolle were founded in 1910, and their biggest rivals are Go Ahead Eagles. The rivalry is locational based, as they're both at the River IJssel and are 21 miles away from each other. According to Wikipedia, Go Ahead supporters call Pek Zwolle Ole, as Zwolle sounds too disgusting for them. Huh? I tried to learn more, but I don't know Dutch. In the Europa League round of 16, Lazio were the opponents. The club from Rome was struggling this season and were missing their key player, 36-year-old Milinkovic Savic, with no pace. It clearly showed, as at home, they were dismantled limb by limb as the goals kept hitting the back of the net. They nearly called a mercy rule, but the scoring would stop at 6. Despite losing the second leg 2-0, Go Ahead moved on to the quarterfinals where they faced Sporting Clube de Portugal. Not their first rodeo, but despite Bungard missing an early penalty, Rico Henry would give the club the advantage heading into the interval. The unlikely scores continued, as 10 minutes after halftime, Ayache of all people scored with an inventive strike. That was cancelled out by Eric Call's free kick, which must have been so fast that it made Bill Cabbage dive the wrong way. Thankfully, the 2-goal lead was restored as Bungard made up for his penalty miss. The second leg was nerve-wracking. On 2 occasions, Sporting brought the aggregate within 1, but Andreas and Wendell would both score in the 71st and 80th respectively, giving Go Ahead a 6-3 aggregate triumph. In the semi-final, it was Napoli. This was happening following an important fixture with Ajax, so let's worry about that. Like I mentioned, win every game in the Eredivisie and the league is yours. However, despite Ajax not having the best of seasons, they were causing difficulties. Not only could Go Ahead not handle their press, but they were lucky that this goal was offside. The chances continued for them, and 3 minutes after halftime, Andreas basically helped Kenneth Taylor out by giving him an easier chance to score. Several changes were instantly made, which saw Bungard hit the post. Despite the manager's best effort to make something happen, it seemed like there were too many players on the team that couldn't handle the pressure, as Ajax held on and won 1-0. Feyenoord were victorious in their match, and with no European competitions to worry about, all they had to do was win these 3 games. Meanwhile, Go Ahead had to worry about Napoli, a side potentially in turmoil, as prior to the tie, the manager straight up quit to join France. Not sure why you wouldn't wait until the end of the season. Regardless, they hired Arne Slot after he got eliminated by PSV in the Conference League. Napoli weren't the same side as years ago, but they still had a really strong team, speared ahead by Raspadori. Would we get the Raspadori show? Well, these 2 missed chances may have answered that question, but Bungard finds Andreas. Yes! Andreas! As I say that, we should be able to deal with that. Ayache, man. Henry, come on. Andreas, penal. It's not going to be taken by Andreas though. We've missed 2 penalties in a row. We miss another one, but we get the rebound. Free kick on the top of the box. Is this just going to be slotted into the back of the net? What the hell happened there? Did that get deflected or? Yeah, it looks like it got deflected off my wall and in. We have a highlight. Andreas finds Wendell and he gets stopped. All right. Wendell's OP. Oh no, what was that? What a save. What happened there? I wasn't looking. One mistake and someone has the advantage for the second leg. How did he get around? As I was saying, oh my. Well, some performed, others didn't. With a win versus VVV Venlo in between the legs, nothing changed in the standings, as Twente conveniently forgot how to defend against Feyenoord. Bungard unfortunately suffered an injury that meant 2 strikers were not possible, especially with Schallen out as well. So against Napoli, Wendell needed to contribute, but with him starting to bottle it in these important fixtures, that would continue to happen. Napoli were defending well, and Go Ahead forgot what that meant, as Raspadori took a 2-goal aggregate lead. No one stepped up, as the Eagles were out of Europe, and the Eredivisie title was vanishing with time dwindling. Zhengzhi's Utrecht were barely defeated, while Feyenoord would do what Go Ahead couldn't do this season and defeat Vitesse. Both sides were away on the final day, with Feyenoord visiting NAC Breda and Go Ahead visiting NEC Nijmegen. A win was needed, while Feyenoord needed to lose. With multiple chances missed, it wouldn't be Go Ahead who scored first. That's so cool. 1 chance and they score, and Feyenoord score. Brilliant. Crewman immediately left. Even if they went on and won the game, the ending was already written.